Good afternoon, everybody. It's Saturday. It's time for another thrilling and chilling episode of United States government television for the week of what's going to be the week of October the 4th, 2008, or 2020. Our class sessions will be October 6th and October 8th. We're going to have a busy week. It's going to be kind of tough for y'all because we're going to cover a lot of material. I'm going to try to cover stuff in 2 chapters of your textbook, plus something a little bit extra. On Tuesday, we will discuss the president's illness and what happens in that situation if he's unable to do his job. I thought that might be timely. We'll also be discussing Chapter 7 of your textbook, which has to do with state and local government. And then on Thursday, we're going to talk about Chapter 8, which discusses the Article 1 of the Constitution and the legislative branch and how it works. And we're going to move pretty fast. So here are a few things to talk about. First of all, state government. How does a state become a state? It's admitted by an act of Congress, and that's really all that we can be certain of. There are have been a number of different ways that's been accomplished, but the states are admitted by an act of Congress. There is one restriction on that, which is that a state cannot be formed out of another state without the consent of the pre-existing state. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about two cases where it happened, where a state was admitted by where a state consented to have another state carved out of its territory, and then we'll talk about another situation where the consent is a little more questionable. So we'll talk about that. We will also talk about the constitutional guarantee of a Republican form of government for all states. We'll talk about what that means, and we'll talk about a court case that involved that. Then we'll go on and we will discuss the organization of state governments, and we'll discuss state constitutions and the ways in which many of them differ from the federal constitution. So look into that. We will discuss that. Then we will discuss local government with a particular focus on local government in the state of Texas. We'll discuss county government, how that is organized. Then we will discover the government of cities and towns with a little bit of a focus on the city of Harlingen, which we all know and love so well. And then we will focus as well on other governmental entities, other districts. We will talk about independent school districts. We will talk about irrigation and drainage districts, municipal utility districts, and other districts of that sort that have been formed to carry out one or another governmental functions. And then I've got a writing assignment for you that you are absolutely going to love. You'll be excited about it. And all of that's just on Tuesday. For Thursday, we will be looking at the material in Chapter 8 of your textbook, and perhaps even Chapter 9, dealing with the legislative branch of the national government. We'll discuss what the Constitution says about it. We will discuss the 2 chambers of the legislature, the House of Representatives and the Senate. We'll talk about how they are selected and some of their particular functions and powers. We'll talk about the way that the 2 houses of the legislature go about their business. Then we will talk about the process of enacting a law, how it becomes a law, both the official version as set out in the rules of the two chambers and in your textbook, and some of the reality of what really happens when you're trying to get a law passed. We will talk about the president's role in the legislative process, which has to do with the veto power or the signing power. Then we'll talk to some degree about an issue that is not actually part of the legislative process. It comes up more often in connection with the judicial branch when they are interpreting or enforcing legislation, and that is the question of legislative history and how a court figures out what a law means, and the idea, which I believe is entirely fictional, of the legislature's intent. So we're going to talk about all of that as well. And we're going to do all of that in 2 class sessions, so we're going to be moving fast. We'll also discuss the concept of subsidiarity, which relates to state and local government. If any of you are curious, look that up in a dictionary or on Google. We will talk about subsidiarity and why someone might think that a federal system of government, such as what we at least started out with, might be preferable to a more centralized government. So that's everything that's coming up for this upcoming week. I hope this is of some help to you. Take a look at these things. Be ready to talk about them. And if I mentioned them, they might be important for you to remember on a test. So take a look at all of that. We will sign off now, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday. Bye.